Hello, and thanks for watching this video. I'm Matt with New Life Church, continuing our study on the life of Abraham, which is part of a longer series of the Hall of Faith. Today we're going to talk about one of the big topics of Abraham's life, which is Sodom and Gomorrah. We'll begin with chapter 18, starting with verse 16. A conversation had taken place between two angels, a theophany, which is a manifestation of Christ, and Abraham, where they talked about how Isaac was going to be born. And in verse 16 it says, "Then the men rose from there and looked towards Sodom, and Abraham went with them to send them on the way. And the Lord said, Shall I hide from Abraham what I am doing? Since Abraham shall surely become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth shall be blessed in him. For I have known him in order that he may command his children and his household after him, that they keep the way of the Lord and do righteousness and justice, that the Lord may bring to Abraham what he has spoken to him." So the Lord is deciding, should I tell Abraham what's going on? And what did he decide?
He told him.
Yes, he told him. So verse 20. "And the Lord said, Because the outcry against Sodom and Gomorrah is great, and because their sin is very great, or very grave, I will go down now and see whether they have done altogether according to the outcry against it that has come to me. If not, I will know." Now, that's kind of interesting, considering that God's actually omniscient, knows everything. He says he's going to go and see whether it's true. He knows it's true. Even Abraham knows it's true about Sodom, as we find out. But just, I guess, giving them a chance, as you'll see what happens when the angels do go there. I will know. Verse 22, "Then the men turned away from there and went toward Sodom, but Abraham still stood before the Lord. And Abraham came near and said, Would you also destroy the righteous with the wicked? Suppose there were 50 righteous within the city. Would you also destroy the place and spare it not for the 50 righteous that were in it? Far be it from you to do such a thing as this, to slay the righteous with the wicked, so that the righteous should be as the wicked. Far be it from you. Shall not the judge of the earth, of all the earth, do right?" So, question is, what is this up with Abraham? What's going on? Why he's trying to defend Sodom?
He's really trying to defend Lot and his family.
Yes.
They live in Sodom and Gomorrah.
Yes, he knows that his nephew Lot is in Sodom. And he knows that Lot's family is there. And he doesn't want to see Lot get killed. So verse 26. "So the Lord said, If I find in Sodom 50 righteous within the city, then I will spare all the place for their sakes." So Sodom was a big city, at least by those standards. Not as big as Chicago, New York City of today, but pretty big nevertheless. But Abraham wasn't really sure there would be 50 righteous people in that city. So verse 27. "Then Abraham answered and said, Indeed, now, I who am but dust and ashes have taken upon myself to speak to the Lord." And it is important to remember what we are when we pray. He's not our buddy. He's not our peer. He is God and we are but dust.
Right.
It is important to remember that.
He's our superior.
Yes. Yes. Verse 28. Suppose there were 5 less than the 50 righteous. Would you destroy all the city for lack of 5? So he said, if I find 45, I will not destroy it. It's amazing when we think of how merciful God is. For the thing, you have a big city. If there were 50 righteous and now 45 righteous, he lets it live for those people. He would have. Unfortunately, there weren't 45 righteous. There weren't 10 righteous. And he spoke to him yet again. Verse 29. Suppose there should be 40 found there. So he said, I will not do it for the sake of 40. Then he said, let not the Lord be angry, and I will speak. Suppose 30 should be found there. So now he's really getting this number down. He'd gone down only 5 before. Now he went down 10. It's 30. Or
15.
15. Yeah, you're right. 15.
He's really testing the Lord, ain't he?
Yeah, he's really testing the Lord. So he said, I will not do it if I find 30 there. And he said, indeed now I have taken upon myself to speak to the Lord. Suppose 20 shall be found there. As Abraham keeps on thinking about how wicked this city is, he's realizing that it'd be surprising if there's one righteous person in there.
Yeah.
So he said, I will not destroy it for the sake of 20. Then he said, let not the Lord be angry. And I was speaking once more, He's realizing these negotiating down and down. It would be irritating to him if he was having a discussion with one of his servants about it.
Yeah. He's practically begging now.
Yeah. If there's 10, should be found there. And he said, I will not destroy it for the sake of 10. So the Lord went on his way as soon as he had finished speaking with Abraham, and Abraham returned to his place. I can imagine what's going through Abraham's mind during this time. Is he praying? Is he...
His heart's racing.
Yeah.
He's nervous.
Mm-hmm.
He's scared.
Mm-hmm. He's wondering if his nephew's going to be alive in the morning.
Right.
Chapter 19. Now the 2 angels came to Sodom in the evening, and Lot was sitting in the gate of Sodom, which meant he was, a prominent person in there.
Right.
When Lot saw them, he rose to meet them and bowed himself with his face toward the ground. And he said, Hear now, my lords, please turn into your servant's house and spend the night and wash your feet. Then you may rise early and go on your way. And they said, No, but we will spend the night in the open square. So why did he do that? Why did Lot want them to...
Because he knew what was out there.
Yeah, because he knew what was out there. It wasn't good. Spending the night in the open square, at least for a mortal, he didn't realize these angels really didn't have anything to worry about.
Right.
But you'd be better off to just kill yourself than to spend the night in the open square there.
Or he didn't want the rest of the world, the rest of the town to know that he was a God worshiper.
But he insisted strongly in verse 3. So they turned into him and entered his house. Then he made them a feast and baked unleavened bread, and they ate. Now before they lay down, the men of the city, the men of Sodom, both old and young, all the people from every quarter, surrounded the house. And they called out to Lot and said, Where are the men who came to you tonight? Bring them out to us that we may know them carnally. They wanted to have a mass rape for these guys. They surrounded the whole house, the whole city together. that would be a scary situation if all the city of Hammond surrounded this house.
Oh. Yeah.
That
I'm
would
gonna have problems with the angels.
So Lot went out to them through the doorway, shut the door behind him, and said, "Please, my brethren, do not do so wickedly. See now, I have 2 daughters who have not known a man. Please let me bring them out to you, and you may do to them as you wish, only do nothing to these men, since this is the reason they have come under the shadow of my roof." I've talked to someone who has 2 daughters, and he couldn't imagine doing that.
Oh no.
I've heard of things about hospitality of someone in your roof, but his own daughters he was offering to them, to the mob. I don't know if it's just fear or what people do from fear, or what, but seriously, that always just,
Yeah. Not willing to defend your daughters.
yeah, he's offering them. Verse 9, and they said, "Stand back." Then they said, that's the mob, "This one came in to stay here, and he keeps acting as a judge. Now we'll deal worse with you than with them." Acting like a judge. It's a good thing no one today ever accuses someone of that.
You surely jest.
Yes, I surely jest. And don't judge me, don't judge me, don't judge me. You know, it's not really judging someone if they have their hand in the cookie jar and you say that they're taking a cookie. That's just, you know, that's basically what someone who knows they're guilty will say, is don't judge me, don't judge me. Because they know they're guilty, they don't want to be judged. Because being judged can mean you're innocent.
Right.
You go to court and you are found not guilty, you've still been judged. You know?
This is true.
But they know they're guilty, so they're saying don't judge me. That's exactly what people do if they know they are guilty. They don't want to be judged. Because they know they can't stand up to judgment. Okay, and judges said, "We will deal worse with you than with them." So they pressed hard against the man Lot and came near to break down the door. But the men reached out their hands and, now this is going to back to the angels, the men reached out their hands and pulled Lot into the house with them and shut the door. And they struck the men who were at the doorway of the house with blindness, both small and great, so that they became weary trying to find the door. Seems probably more than just blindness, because they were at the door. You'd think they would find the door that they were at.
Right.
But they were struck with blindness. This is not what it showed in the mini-series, The Bible. They made it into some great battle with swords and everything. That wasn't what happened. The angel struck them blind, and whatever battle there would have been.
Would have been lost anyway.
Yeah.
By the man of the city.
Mm-hmm. So verse 12. Then the men said to Lot, "Have you anyone else here? Son-in-law, your sons, your daughters, whomever you have in the city, take them out of this place. For we will destroy this place, because the outcry against them has grown great before the face of the Lord, and the Lord has sent us to destroy it." So, if there was ever any demonstration that this whole city is wicked, they done proved it. So, verse 14. So Lot went out and spoke to his sons-in-law who had married his daughters, and said, "Get up, get out of this place, for the Lord will destroy the city." But to his sons-in-law he seemed to be joking. They did not believe him. They pull the other one. Yeah, whatever. Lord,
Yeah.
he's never destroyed this city before.
It's always a first.
Mm-hmm. That seems anytime you get away with a sin,
You think you can always get away with it.
yes. So, verse 15. When the morning dawned, the angels urged Lot to hurry, saying, Arise, take your wife and your 2 daughters who are here, lest you be consumed in the punishment of the city. And while he lingered, he just, but my other daughters are still here. The men took hold of his hand, his wife's hand, and the hands of his 2 daughters, the Lord being merciful to them. They didn't grab them because they wanted to be mean.
Right. Grabbed him to keep him safe.
Grabbed him to keep him safe. To keep his family safe. At least the part of his family that was there. They brought him out and set him outside the city. So it came to pass, when they had brought them outside, that he said, Escape for your life. Do not look behind you. It's very important to remember that part. Do not look behind you, nor stay anywhere in the plain. Escape to the mountains, lest you be destroyed. Then Lot said to them, Please, no, my lords. Indeed, now your servant has found favor in your sight, and you have increased your mercy, which you have shown me by saving my life. But I cannot escape to the mountains, lest some evil overtake me and I die. See now, this city is near enough to flee to, and it is a little one. Please let me escape there. Is it not a little one? And my soul shall live. And he said to him, See, I have favored you concerning this thing also, in that I will not overthrow this city. There is a small city, for which you have spoken. Hurry, escape there, for I can't do anything until you arrive there. Therefore the name of the city is called Zoar, which means insignificant in size. So a small city there is where Lot said, I can get there, but I can't get to the mountains. You'll find later he goes to the mountains anyway. Then, in verse 24, Then the Lord rained brimstone and fire on Sodom and Gomorrah from the Lord out of the heavens. So he overthrew those cities, all the plain, all the inhabitants of the cities, and what grew on the ground. God did judgment there, and judgment is coming. Just because we live in a grace dispensation where it's been delayed, judgment does come. So he overthrew those cities, all the plain, all the inhabitants of the cities, and what grew on the ground. But his wife, in verse 26, looked back behind him, and she became a pillar of salt. I can just see she's looking back longingly at this city that apparently she'd enjoyed being in. Lots of people do enjoy being in sinful places. She was told not to. We're not supposed to look back at our past longingly wanting to return to it. She became a pillar of salt. And Abraham went early in the morning to the place where he had stood before the Lord, and he looked toward Sodom and Gomorrah and toward all the land of the plain. And he saw, and behold, the smoke of the land which went up like the smoke of a furnace. And it came to pass, when God destroyed the cities of the plain, that God remembered Abraham and sent Lot out of the midst of the overthrow, when he overthrew the cities in which Lot had dwelt. So Abraham looks out and he sees all that smoke. God had destroyed the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah. However, God had spared Lot. So verse 30. So then Lot went up out of Zoar and dwelt in the mountains. Like I said, he ended up going to the mountains anyway. And his 2 daughters were with him. For he was afraid to dwell in Zoar. And he and his 2 daughters dwelt in a cave. And this is kind of a real disturbing part of the story. The Bible doesn't hide the bad parts of family histories. It shows people warts and all. Now the firstborn said to the younger, Our father is old, and there is no man on earth to come into us, as is the custom of all the earth. Come, let us make our father drink wine, and we will lie with him, that we may preserve the lineage of our father. That is so disturbing. That is so wrong. So they made their father drink wine that night, and the firstborn went in and lay with her father. And he did not know when she lay down or when she arose. And it happened the next day that the firstborn said to the younger, Now it's your turn. Indeed, I lay with my father last night. Let us make him drink wine tonight also, and you go in and lie with him, that we may preserve the lineage of our father. And they did the same thing. And Lot apparently doesn't even know what's going on. They got him so drunk. Thus, both the daughters of Lot were with child by their father. The firstborn bore a son and called his name Moab. He is the father of the Moabites to this day. And the younger also she bore a son and called his name Ben-Ami. That is, he is the father of the people of Ammon to this day. So if you go later on reading, you'll read about Moabites and Ammonites, and this is where they came from. It's a very disturbing part of this.
Yes.
Very disturbing. And I would say it wasn't that those daughters weren't a little bit influenced by where they were raised.
Go ahead.
Yeah, they had been raised in Sodom, and this is what they came up with. You know, does make a difference. And I think that's the last we'll hear about Lot. But what you see here is first Abraham pleading with God over this. He really wanted Lot to survive, and God did listen and let Lot live. And you see the results of his family living in Sodom. You go back a few chapters, you'll see Lot looked on Sodom, and it looked like a beautiful area. The ground was nice, everything's great. He went there thinking that he had made the right choice of where's the best place to go. Yes, sin looks very appealing. It's like any sales tactic. They do not try to show you the truth. When they're advertising cigarettes, they do not show someone hooked up to a lung machine.
No.
When they're advertising alcohol, they do not show someone with their car into a tree. Crash into a tree.
Nope.
They don't. That's what the devil does. Is he puts together a great sales pitch, complete lie, complete fraud, and Lot fell for it. And what did it cost him?
His family, his life, eventually, really.
Yeah, he spent the rest of his days apparently living in that cave.
Yep.
He went in there. Why was it that he had to separate from Abraham?
Because he had too much.
Do you think he has that problem in the cave now?
No.
No, he doesn't. It cost him his riches, it cost him his wife, most of his children, and the daughters that did survive, they were messed up.
And wrong relations, that's for sure.
Yeah. That's what sin costs you. When Lot was looking to see where he would go, what direction he would do, he did not see a sign that said, this is what's going to happen to you if you go to Sodom. The devil doesn't show that when he draws you away. He doesn't show you what it'll cost. But sin will always cost you a lot more than you ever thought it would. It's food for thought to remember if you're considering turning away from God. Don't. It's never worth it. And if you haven't turned to God yet, today's the day to do it. It's very simple. If you confess with your mouth the Lord Jesus and believe in your heart that God's raised him from the dead, you'll be saved. It's Romans 10:9. very simple. It's not crawling around a church on your knees. It's not proving what a great guy you are. You go to God just as you are, and then He will change you. He will save you and sanctify you, help you to be what He wants you to be. He's the one who invented you, and He knows what's best for you. I hope this has been a blessing. If it has, please comment, contact us, like, and share this, subscribe to our channel. We'd love to minister to you more, and we'd love to hear from you. Until next time, go with God.